All right, you guys, welcome back to the Outdoor RX YouTube channel. In today's video, we've got a lot to unpack as always, but before we dive into it, I just want to invite you guys to please like and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate all you guys' support, and make sure you're subscribed so you can be in the running for that giveaway at 5,000 subscribers. It's going to be an awesome giveaway. You're going to want to be in the running for it, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. So with that being said, you guys, let's dive into today's video. All right, you guys, I first want to start with a clip from the tournament at Lake Fork. It only took me a few minutes of watching live this morning to get angry and come down here and make this video for you guys. So I want to start with this clip of Seth Fighter.
We're still not out of it. It's Lake Fork. 10-pounder show up many times, so definitely gonna need a couple good bites for the day's over. Hopefully make that 10 cut. Get to go again tomorrow.
All right, you guys, so we see Seth here just fishing a shad spawn deal in the morning, and when you think of shad spawn, in my eyes, where I'm from Highland Reservoirs, I think of a spinnerbait. That's what I use. That is my go-to, is a spinnerbait. And a lot of other parts of the country, it is a white swim jig. A white swim jig works anywhere in the country. He's not using his forward-facing sonar. And one thing that I've noticed, that I just wanted to put this clip in here for you guys because it pertains massively to a lot of these older guys. And I'm not saying Seth's older or these guys are old, but the guys that have been on the Elite Series for a long time before forward-facing sonar came out, they are sticking to what they're used to doing, what they know works. They don't exploit the forward-facing sonar like these kids do, and we'll get into that here shortly. But I watched Buddy Gross this morning. He is fishing offshore with a crankbait and a bunch of other different baits, but he is not relying on his forward-facing sonar. He's using skills that he has acquired over a long career. He is known for being one of the best offshore fishermen that there is, and you can see his frustration out there. And he even said that he's not comfortable going and using his live scope. It's not been as productive for him as just covering water on these offshore spots that he has. And that's the way it should be. It is not as simple as going out like all the other young guys are and just going around the middle of the freaking lake and all these big patches of timber and just picking off random fish. But we're going to get into that here shortly. So another thing that I want to talk about, the older anglers, the veterans of the sport. You see a lot of them on Bass Live talking about how these guys have gotten so good with forward-facing sonar, and they're not fishing good, and they're not this, they're not that. They're blaming it on themselves, and that kind of pisses me off, because as soon as this forward-facing sonar has overtaken the sport, you see these guys like Stetson Blaylock and Buddy Gross. You see a lot of these guys just falling by the wayside, and it's not because they're having mental illness, mental problems, or they're in a slump, as they call it. It's because forward-facing sonar is dominating, period. Yes, there are a few outliers here and there. You know, you look at Bill Lowen winning on the St. Johns River. That was a beautiful thing. But that's just an outlier. 90% of the time, the top 5 guys are using forward-facing sonar. I'm not saying every time, but look at Trey McKinney. We're going to go into that here shortly. But these older guys, some of them, you can hear the frustration in their voice. They're not allowed to voice their entire opinion truthfully on Bassmaster Live, but you can definitely tell the frustration behind what they're saying. Since we're talking about the veterans of the sport, I want you guys to, if you do watch Bassmaster Live, just pay attention to the things that I'm about to talk about, because they're so true and they're so important to people who are watching Bassmaster Live to learn and grow as an angler. So look at any of the anglers that are not using their forward-facing sonar. They're the ones that are engaging with the camera. They're telling you what they're doing. They're going through their baits and telling you why they're using them on certain spots. That you don't see that with the guys that are using forward-facing sonar. They don't say anything. Look at Trey McKinney. All he does is spit in the water and wiggle his little rod. He doesn't tell you what he's doing. It's a joke. You're not learning anything. You're just watching a kid that's really good with his freaking spotlighting unit. It's the most outrageous thing I have ever seen unfold on live. So I want you guys to pay attention to that. One of the best, I would say the best person that Bass could have on live is Chris Zaldain. He explains what he's doing. He goes through his baits. He tells you where he is, why he's there, and what he's using to catch the fish in that area. And if I watched some of Chris on his own channel, he's fishing like Seth Feider and Buddy Gross. He's out, ripping a trap through the grass, doing these things. It's actually fishing. It's not going through the middle of the lake and just bullshit spotlighting fish. If it doesn't make you angry, then you're siding with the people that are just dominating the sport, and it's not fishing. I don't care how you look at it. It's not fishing. So just think about those things that I just talked about with the veterans falling by the wayside, and how having those guys on live makes the entire show. People want to know what they're doing, why they're doing it, and what they're using. That's the whole point of Bassmaster Live. It's not to have people trolling through the middle of the lake, live scoping fish. No one wants to watch that. And you can hear Dave Mercer talk about it. He's like, "Oh, I'm a little teapot, doot doot doot." He's embarrassed about it too. And he also says all the time in Bass, when the person's using their live scope unit and they're actually casting at fish, he's like, thank goodness they're casting, because 90% of the time they're just looking for a floating fish. So that's the new term on the Bassmaster Elite series, floaters. I think about a turd in the bowl, not a fish. Whew. I just got to calm my rant down. Okay, so now we're going to turn to the live scopers, the kids of the sport. I'm going to play a clip of JT Tompkins here for you guys, and you tell me what you learned from this clip.
One of those places where I've caught a lot of 30-pound bags. I'm going to call it old school fishing, but those fish are not really set up on those places. And I think a lot of it, everybody keeps saying pressure. It's not the pressure. This lake has gotten the same amount of pressure for 20 years. And a lot of it is those.
All right, you guys, wasn't that fun to watch? What did you learn? Did he explain where he was, what he was doing, what he was using? No. No, he didn't. What would happen if you took that live scope away from him? Probably wouldn't do too hot. But my point I'm trying to make, you guys, is there will not be a Bassmaster anymore. There will not, that organization is going to go away if we continue to allow this. It's a joke. Have two different divisions. Have some sort of limitations on it. We could deal with that. I could deal with that. Maybe you're not as against it as I am, but I could freaking deal with it. Half the day they can use it, half the day they won't. Guarantee you, people are going to watch Bassmaster Live when they're not using it, because they can learn from it. That is one of the beautiful things about the day and age that we live in. You can learn everything you need to learn and then go out and deploy those lessons learned from watching Bassmaster Live. You can't do that when they're just freaking going around the lake with their stupid little live scope unit. And look at the size graph that JT has on his boat. That's a 20 whatever inch live scope graph. And you're calling yourself a pro? No. All right, you guys. So we've dived into just a few. I watched Bassmaster Live for like an hour, and I just want you guys to think about what I'm saying about the veterans on live not using live scope. It's so much more entertaining. You learn so much more than from these anglers that think that they're just awesome fishermen. Like Trey McKinney thinks his shit don't stink, and I'm sorry, buddy, but you're gifted. You're very good at using your live scope. Every time you've been on live, you're using live scope. That's not fishing to me. But I don't want to take away from him too much. It's just a really aggravating thing, and Bass is going to have to do something about it, or they're going to go away. And you know who the one person is that doesn't have live scope on their boat? The one and only John Cox. I mean, come on, you guys. He's not sucking any teats. He is the man for that. And go John. All right, you guys, the last thing I want to talk about in this short video is, so all the anglers that I've heard on Bassmaster Live are talking how Lake Fork is not fishing the way that it used to. They're not catching as many fish. It's either hero or zero out there. And I heard Mercer talking about on the way to Lake Fork this morning, the amount of bass boats that were headed that way, which, I mean, it's Lake Fork, you guys. Of course, there's going to be a lot of boats, but seems to me the pressure is finally getting to Lake Fork. Even just imagine if all the lakes in the country had the regulations that Lake Fork had. That's one beautiful thing about Texas, and especially at Lake Fork. They have the slot limit on fish. You have those bigger fish getting released no matter what into the spot that they were caught at. So that alleviates a lot of the stress on the fish, but it's still going downhill, in my opinion, and that's what it sounds like from the anglers out there fishing. The pressure, no matter what, is going to crack a lake, and that is one of the only lakes in the country that has those sort of restrictions on it, and it's still taking a hit. So conservation, you guys, I preach it on every video because it needs to be brought into the light. Things need to happen, and people need to start doing something about it. I'm trying to figure out my avenue to take in the whole deal, the conservation side, because bass anglers are just exploiting the lakes and not giving back to it, and it pisses me off. And we're gonna see a downfall in the sport. It's happening as we speak, you guys. Drop some comments down below on what you think bass can do, specifically bass. What can they do? I want to hear it, you guys, because I can't stand watching the sport go down the shitter. I love it so much, and I know a lot of the guys on the Elite Series, and there's so many hammers out there that are just going by the wayside because of the forward-facing sonar. So with that being said, you guys, I appreciate you watching. Drop some comments down below. We'll see you guys in the next one.